When we came to France initially, we rented a car because we thought we'd just be here for a year and it just didn't make sense to buy one.
Right. But even after we realized we were going to stay, we ended up renting cars from multiple places at ridiculous costs for a whole second year because, I mean, I'm just gonna be honest, we were freaking intimidated to buy a car here in France.
We know that the car buying process in the US is usually completely awful. The idea of having to go through that in French was just way too much, and we felt a little paralyzed.
Yeah. So in the end, our fears honestly turned out to be completely unfounded. Yeah. It went really well. And looking back, I'm going to be honest, it feels like one of the dumbest things we wasted money on because it was a lot.
This was a screw up.
Yeah. And all the time we've been in France, maybe besides shipping stuff, video to come, but we felt like it was all because we were avoiding something that felt scary and unknown and that we were intimidated about. And we don't want that to happen to you.
And this video is all about what you need to know and what to expect as an American trying to buy a car in France.
Right. Hi, I'm Raina.
I'm Jason.
We're Baguette Bound, a family of 3 living in the southwest countryside of France since 2022.
Yeah.
And we talk about moving, adjusting, and enjoying life in France.
So we've known that we really needed to make a video about buying a car in France for quite a while.
You've been asking us.
Many of you have emailed us and asked us for this video. You know, but really considering that we felt that this is one of those things that we kind of screwed up a little and we don't know all that much about it, we thought we should probably find someone who knows more than we do to figure out what we're talking about.
Yes, so we're going to bring in Joris, the owner of Settled in France, a relocation company based in Périgueux, who's not very far from us. And we're super excited. Joris is also who we partner with our American clients that we work with on visas. And he also has a car buying service.
Oh, I wish we'd known about it.
Yes.
So for any of you out there who know audio, you know it can be really tricky to mic up 3 people. So I'm going to jump out of here and let Raina and Joris take it from here.
So in this video, we're going to talk about 3 different stages of car buying. The prep work, finding the car, where to buy it, how do you pay for it, all that kind of stuff. Then we're going to talk about the experience of buying the car, what to expect, what should you look out for. And then we're going to talk about the admin that comes after the car. How do you get this thing registered, car insurance, that kind of thing. So just to give you a little preview of each step we're going to go through. Joris, welcome to the Baguette Bound studio.
Happy to be here.
Our kitchen table. All right. So, as Jason and I talked about in the intro, when we got here, the first few months, I think, getting settled, and especially when we didn't know we were going to stay, it totally makes sense to rent a car. Like, especially we use the TT program we talk about sometimes, and it was great. Yep. But at some point into the second year, it really started to not make sense anymore.
It's costly, yeah.
Yeah, it's costly, exactly. Yeah. And we were just intimidated. So, okay, in this video, even though we know you have a service where you can help people do this, but of course at Baguette Bound, we're all about also giving you the tools to navigate this on your own. So we're going to talk through the process, some resources, places that you can get information, questions that you guys have sent us that we think you probably want answers to. So, okay, to start with, where do people buy cars in France?
Well, there are several options. I mean, the main one would probably be car dealership, like you would expect.
Just like in the US?
Yes.
Okay.
They sell used car or new cars.
Okay. Again, just like in the US?
Nothing special.
Okay.
Then you've got the sort of individual buyer type of market, private buyer, that would mostly go through the Bon Coin. Le Bon Coin is a very, very prevalent website. Maybe the equivalent of Craigslist?
It's very, yes. This is, if you guys haven't discovered this yet, this is the French equivalent of Craigslist. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And good to know as well, on Le Bon Coin, you've got a private seller, but you also got the professional, the car dealership are also
list
on it.
On things.
So honestly, for me, when you are looking for a car, I think there's only one place to look at. That's really the one.
Okay.
You would find, based on the filter you're using, you would find private sellers or dealership as well that are on it.
Okay.
And I guess there's a third option that is pretty new. There's a few websites doing this. I've got the name of one coming to mind called Car Easy, and it's basically car easy, yeah,
Okay.
in one word. I think it's IZY at the end.
Okay.
And the idea is that it's basically a middleman between private sellers, as opposed to people, going into a direct transaction. There is this middleman who basically verify the car for you, make sure it's roadworthy. They have a lot of inspections points.
Oh, wow.
And during the transaction as well, someone from the company will come directly when private buyers are meeting to make sure everything goes fine.
Okay. Wow.
That's an interesting option. Yeah. Obviously they take their cut on it. It's not a massive
so you pay
one.
do you pay like a percentage or a fee?
Yeah,
do you know? Okay.
Exactly. They take a percentage on it. It's not massive though, and I think it's a worthwhile option to consider because it takes the stress off. Like the opposite of this would be two private seller meeting on the parking lot, changing an envelope of cash.
Yes, and that is I think that is really freaks you out. Yeah.
No, so they're here to avoid this and to avoid those situations. So for example as well, the transaction wouldn't be done directly to the people selling the car. If you're the buyer, they will hold the funds, making sure everything is fine, and they would release it after.
So they're like a middleman to hold the funds too.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
that's really reassuring, especially doing this with a private buyer in a foreign country. For sure. Okay. Oh, that's a great option. I had never heard of. This is why
it's pretty new. It's like 2 or 3 years old, I think.
Yeah.
But it has a cost. But if you don't want to deal with dealership, that's another option.
No, that's awesome. Yeah. Another one I think that pops up here in France that I'm sure this exists in the US, but France is so relationship based. I've noticed a lot of because we're in the countryside, this may be different in the bigger cities, but there's a lot of these garages around.
Yes.
And I have had friends who they're just oh no, I just go to the local garage and he helped me get a car. And in the US, that sounds super shady. Honestly, you would probably not do that, but it's pretty common here.
It is common, because the people at the shops know what the owner wants to do of the car. They know that it's going to come on the market pretty soon. They know the condition of the car, so they can vouch for how well it's been maintained and all of this. So it's another option again.
Yeah.
But you need to get the right connection.
Exactly. So I mentioned it because it's something that seems pretty common out here in the villages with local garages, the local mechanic, and sometimes coordinating those sales. He can put the word out, he can look for a car. And I was like, what? Anyway, so now we know where we're going to go buy a car. But there's actually very different makes and models available here in France than there are in the US. So I think there's just lots of new things to consider. What are some of the things that you think foreigners, specifically coming from the US, should be thinking about when they're choosing a car here in France?
Well, the driving conditions are different. The roads are smaller. Most of the cars that are on the market are also smaller as a result.
Yeah.
There are more and more automatic cars, but the bulk of the market is still manual.
The bulk of the market? Really? You think so?
Absolutely. Yeah, the bulk of the market.
Actually,
for sure.
That's probably true because at Leclerc, if you want an automatic, the grocery store that rents cars, we've talked about before, and other supermarchés do too, there may be only 2 or 3 automatics out of all the cars they have. That's true.
It's totally possible to buy one or to rent one, but it's the way it is availability for sure, and they tend to be more pricey as well.
Yeah, that's true. I hadn't thought about that. Getting an automatic transmission is actually an upgrade on a car in France.
Obviously, the brands are different. They're the American brands are not so much on the French market at all.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of Asian cars. The French manufacturers are really, really super present on their own market.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm not saying this because I'm French and I want to recommend the industry. But every time I want to buy a car, I always identify cars that I like the look of and stuff, and I want to do the comparison in terms of prices with the equivalent in the French make.
Yes.
They always tends to come out slightly cheaper.
Yeah, we noticed that too.
Probably taxes, import, I don't know, but it comes out better.
Yeah.
And I always end up buying a French car at the end, which is not my intention in the first place, but that ends up happening.
Yeah.
And it's also good as well because there's more shops for maintenance.
Yes.
This practical aspect goes with it that are interesting.
I think so. And we talked about that in the video we made about figuring out how you're going to get a car. It's sometimes people think about shipping a car because they have one they really like in the US, but it may be really hard to get service on that car if it isn't something common here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another thing that you and I talked about one time offline and I hadn't really thought about is also that, well, one, fuel is more expensive here. So Americans love big cars, but you really need to think about it's going to add up fast if you have a car that is not fuel efficient. Plus it's very hard to park. But something you brought up that I thought was interesting is like when we were thinking about buying a car, because we have all these visitors coming all the time. And I was like, oh, it'd be kind of nice to get a little bit bigger car so that every time a family of 4 visits us, we don't need to rent something. But because fuel's more expensive, parking is, the spaces are small, everything's smaller. It really makes more sense. We were talking about this to maybe get a smaller car, and then people here often rent a car for road trips or family. It's pretty common.
I think it's important to consider your individual situation, especially that sometime at the beginning you don't exactly know where you're gonna end up living.
Yeah.
The situation will be totally different if you live in the countryside that you don't have shops nearby. You're probably in a car that is probably a most robust sort of build.
That's it. It's going to have a lot of miles.
Because you got to drive a lot.
You got to drive a lot in the countryside.
The bakery, whatever. That's important to get something robust. But if you live in a city center, you might hardly need your car. And I think you might be okay with a smaller one to do some like day trips or something. But you would probably come out way cheaper to get like a smaller car. And if you need a bigger car to go to vacation and and do a lot more miles, I think maybe renting one just for the one time is probably more advantageous than being stuck with a big SUV the whole year around.
Exactly, yeah. And I say that just because like that is not the natural first thought to me as an American to think like, oh, even if I'm just taking a road trip that I could drive my own car, I would rent a car for that. Like that's just not something, we're just like, no, instead I'll buy this gigantuan thing I'll drive all the time. So I'll have it the 2 weeks out of the year I need it. Anyway, okay. How do car loans work here? Who funds them? How do foreigners usually pay for cars?
You can either buy the car with your own funds if you had them available.
So just in cash?
Yeah, just in cash or like a bank transfer from available funds on your account. You can also get a car loan. I guess what we call prêt personnel auto is like the equivalent of a car loan. The conditions are pretty standard and what you would expect. They want to make sure that you can pay back the loan. So they're checking several things. They're checking that you're going to be in France for the whole duration of the loan. Like if you have a 3-year loan, they want to make sure that you're going to stay as long as the 3 years.
So that could be challenging if you're here and you have a 1-year visa, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So.
Yes, and they're also checking that you've got the right availability financially as well, the right resources, sorry. So making sure that you've got regular income coming in your account, that type of, everything you would expect from in the US is not that different, except that they're paying more attention to your visa status.
Yeah, okay. And have you seen people, because often the thing that we have people run into is like, the French really rely on a French work contract as proof of earnings. Have you seen people who don't have that, but maybe they have regular retirement income or get car loans? Yeah,
regular like pension or social security income, I think I find most of the time. But honestly, because you're dealing with banks and different institutions, that would sort of be on a case-to-case basis.
Yeah, of course. And I think the big thing here is if you're just arriving in France, not having a multi-year visa might actually be, for foreigners, the biggest variable that is going to make it tough maybe to get qualified for like a regular traditional car loan to finance. So I'm taking away from that, probably you should plan on buying your first car in cash. And then maybe as you're here and you're more established and you get a multi-year residence permit, maybe there's something else that you should be considered.
Also another reason is that the bank maybe wants to like get to know you. Like if you open your account and ask for a loan after a couple of months, do you have an established relationship with them? They want to know they want to know you and how you spend your money and what you do with it before committing to lend you the money.
That's true. Yeah, because I don't know if you've seen one of our other videos, we talked about how there is no credit scores in France. So it doesn't matter that you've been building a credit score in the US your whole life. no one cares here in France. So
that's right.
that personal banking relationship becomes very important. Okay, so the next question I have that's kind of specific to being a foreigner moving to France is, can you buy a car when you still have a US driver's license?
Yes.
Okay.
I've done it for clients already, so I know this is possible.
Okay.
However, one thing outside of the driving license is you need to get you can't drive the car out of the lot if you don't have a French insurance. So that is
that's
quite
big.
crucial to get.
Yeah.
But the French insurance are usually as well insuring the car with a US driving license as well.
Okay, because I've heard mixed things about that some people have had trouble getting French car insurance when they still had a US license, but I guess it just depends on the insurer.
Yeah.
Okay, but it is possible. There's definitely people out there.
So the clients have done this sort of recently, went to an insurance company that I've recommended, which is like a big player on the French market, nothing outside of the ordinary, and they were totally fine with it.
Okay.
So,
Great. Okay.
It might not work for every insurance company, but that one in particular was no problem with it.
Oh, that's okay. That's good to know. There's options. Okay. All right, so let's move on and talk about, because that's kind of all the things you got to have in order ahead of time, right? How you're going to fund this, finding the car, where you're going to buy it, the insurance piece.
Yes.
But then when it actually comes to buying the car, I think this part was actually the part that kept us from doing it, because in the US, I mean, I know you've never bought a car in the US, but oh my God, all of you watching this, Americans, you know what I'm talking about. Like, you just dread it. You know you're going to go in, you're going to have to negotiate. They're going to let me check with my manager, and leave you sitting in this office. It's like an interrogation tactic. It's the worst. They try and sell you everything. You go in with your defenses up. Okay, so tell me what it's like to buy a car in France. Is it the same, different?
I found the salesperson and the dealership not that pushy.
Yeah.
They don't harass you with try to sell you the car. They're pretty reserved about it. Something to know is that I don't think there is a margin for negotiation as high as in the US. Usually you see the price, to see the car advertised at a certain price, you can maybe get a few hundred out of it, but if the car is at 20,000, you're not going to get it at 15, regardless of how good you are at negotiating.
Okay.
It doesn't work this way.
Which is something this is like a badge of honor in the US. People will be like, it was listed at this, I got it for this. But everyone knows. And so they don't build that in. That's not really...
No. So the price is pretty much what it is on the sticker.
Okay.
But you can sometimes obtain some extra. For example, the registration, carte grise, can sometimes be included. It's probably not most of the time by default, but if you say something, can you make an effort to include the registration, then most of them will do it.
Okay.
And will do it for you as well, which means you don't have to do the whole thing.
Yes, the dealership we worked with, they did that for us, and we were like, hallelujah. Because that was part of the part we were really worried about.
Something I found funny as well is that when you look at those websites of the car dealership, they all have their own website, or like I said, they're all on Le Bon Coin as well.
Yeah.
You find deals about cars, and you identify your model. You're like, this one is perfect, corresponds to the right mileage, the right size, everything. I want this car.
Right.
But when you go at the dealership, this car is most of the time not there. It's been sold, or maybe it's just an appeal product. But most of the time, this is not present, and you can't really get that car. It's probably for them to get you in the door and try to sell you something else.
We call that a bait and switch in the US.
Yeah.
And they have the same thing. Used to when you get the newspaper, I remember when I was a kid, there'd be these big page ads with a car and the price, and then you're like, wow, that's amazing. And then you get there and they're like, we had 2 of those. They're gone.
Yeah, sounds like that, yes.
Okay. So if you see that, you want to email or call before you go to make sure the car's actually there.
Yeah, or you're just accepting that it's, that you're going to find out about the option when you get on.
When you get there.
Spot.
Okay. So they may try and sell you something else, but there isn't going to be this big price negotiation. It's probably going to be pretty much what they're willing to sell it for on that.
Yeah, totally.
When you see the price, so in the US, there's always the little asterisk, and it's TTNL not included, which means taxes, title, license, and that can be several $1,000s.
Yeah.
So when I see the price that's advertised, does that include everything? Are there other...
Well, you could have the registration on top if you didn't negotiate it as part of the deal, but most of the time, no, this is what it is. If it's 15,000, it's 50,000.
I love this country. No, it's like most things, even like other prices, right? The price you see on the tag is like what you pay the register, whereas in the US, the tax isn't included. So you go to checkout and it's 8% more than whatever, or whatever your sales tax is if you're in a state with sales tax. So registration, you mentioned that's the one thing. Is it what does registration usually cost? Like, is it based on the percentage of the car? Is it a standard fee?
It's a complex equation. It's based on the horsepower of the car. The
horsepower of the car?
Yeah, so that you get the physical horsepower of the car, but you get what they call the fiscal or the tax horsepower type of equivalent, which is a simplified version of how powerful the car is.
Okay.
You get the carbon emission as well. So if your car has a lot of carbon emission, you can expect to pay more. Pay more.
So if I'm buying like a new, Ford Mustang with the giant engine, it's going to cost me more to register it. Okay.
A big SUV as well.
Yeah, but I guess our hybrid was not much to register. So
probably because of that reason.
Okay.
Yes.
I didn't realize that, but
and the region as well. I think based on different region, you get different prices as well.
Oh, really? So is it like a few $100s or like a few $1,000s usually?
No, a few hundred.
A few hundred. No, okay. So like, along with like the experience of going the day of, can you just like walk into a dealership, show up, buy a car on the spot and walk off like going in to buy a loaf of bread, or how?
No.
Oh no.
So usually when you go in a dealership, identify a car, sort of shake hands, like figuratively speaking, with the salesman.
Okay.
You complete a lot of paperwork. You have a contract, which is very reassuring. You have a purchase order. You get the whole thing to secure the transaction and to officialize it.
Like that's my car.
Yeah, that's your car. It's been reserved. It's not going to be sold by someone coming tomorrow, and that's the deal is done.
Okay.
And then most of the time they ask you at least for a week for them to do the basic maintenance of the car. They do an oil change. They have a list of number of checks that they do.
Yeah,
they're making sure that it's really roadworthy and at the best possible condition.
Okay.
They usually take a week for this. This is the moment during that week when at the end of that week, you don't need to do it at the beginning of that week, but at the end of it, you're going to make the bank transfer for the car to be paid. And a week after you come up here, they receive your funds. They make you sign some more paperwork to prove that they've actually handed over the car to you, and then you can drive.
Okay, and that week while they're preparing it is when you usually get car insurance, right? Because you have to get car insurance specific to that car.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you should plan for it to take the whole process to take a couple of weeks. Probably from when you find the car.
Well, you have the 1 week at the end, which is you can't really compress, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, if you go to like a Peugeot or Renault dealership or Citroën, they all have the same sort of process where you have the 1 week where they need to check on the car, and because they don't have only your car to check with, they have other cars. So
for used cars, we're talking about used cars.
Yes.
Yeah. So would it be different for a new car?
Don't know about this one.
Because usually clients are buying used cars, huh?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting. But you still can't drive it off the lot without car insurance, which you have to arrange.
So, car insurance is non-negotiable anyway.
So I bring this up because, like, don't plan to go buy a car and then the next day you're gonna like be on a plane to Tahiti and want to have it all taken care of. It's probably gonna take, like most things in France, a little bit longer to complete the whole transaction. And
even before you decide on the car, when you're at the dealership, you get the whole selection process anyway. You probably will go and buy the Peugeot store, then you will go at Renault, and then maybe some other foreign brand, it doesn't matter. But because you can't identify the model that you want on the website, like I said, because it may not, most of the time never there, you get to test drive them. So it's like, it's like a whole, you can't do this. Well, I guess you could potentially do this in one day, but that would be a rush process, I think. That would be all right. Okay. So like many things, it's like you just gotta like a different speed than the US usual. Totally. We have car vending machines now in the US where you can just go get a car out of a vending machine. Wow. That's how quickly we like things. Okay. So let's say you've got your car, you've driven off the lot now. So in the case that the car dealership registers it for you, you just wait for it to come in the mail. Yep. Right. Okay. You don't have to do anything. You just provide them, and then it's going to show up in your mailbox, and then you keep it with you. That's like something a little different. You always keep this registration with you on your person in the car in France. Whereas in the US, we would have, it's like
title. So we found our car. But if and we paid for our car and we're driving the car off, and if the dealership didn't register for us, what do you do?
Well, you got to do your registration on your own. There's a few things that are required for this. You need to provide a proof of address.
Proof of address, okay.
Proof of identity, so passport,
okay,
that type of thing. You need, like we said several times, an insurance certificate.
Okay, insurance certificate from your preview of car insurance.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it's a used car, you need to get the previous registration slip from the previous buyer, which has you cross it through saying sold, blah 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 on.
Okay, so that should be something you get from either a private person or the dealership will give it to you. Okay.
Exactly. And then you get what we call a certificat de cession, which is basically sort of the buying act where you describe who owned the car before and that this person that's selling this to you. It's like an administrative form. It's not something that you would draft yourself. There's a dedicated forms on the
like you'll find
website.
it. Okay.
Where you would complete that form and that's all the documents that you need.
Okay, and you take those then to like what's the French equivalent of the DMV, which would be for us the Department of Motor Vehicles? What is it?
ANTS.
ANTS. Ants.
Yes.
So can you do it online or do you have to go to the office?
No, you can do it online now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yes.
Okay, nice. And the two questions I'm thinking of is sometimes if you haven't found like a long-term permanent address, have you had people use like their temporary rentals?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
And I think it went fine.
Okay, all right, no problem. I guess you just need to make sure you're going to be there long enough to receive the registration in the mail.
Exactly, yes.
So,
totally.
Yeah, do you have any, well, it probably varies by department how long that takes. Ours took maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's pretty close
standard.
To my experience
okay,
as well, yeah.
So if you're probably going to be at the address for a month after and you can get mail there, that's probably going to be okay. Okay. What is it called? What is the car registration called in France?
La carte grise.
La carte grise. Oui.
Because it's literally a grey document, so yeah.
Oh, it is a great document. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, that's true. Okay.
So it's one of the documents that they're moving to like put on a digital type of format. So now you still have the paper one, but if you don't want to carry it with you, you have the opportunity to have it on your phone. But I'm not sure how relevant this is for foreigners because you need to get a French ID to get to do this. It's like a digital. Yeah, so I'm not sure that would actually work.
That's your like junior year here, right? As you start to, as you're here, you can like progress up to that. Okay, all right. So to wrap it up, like, is there anything else that I didn't ask you about or didn't cover that you think is important administratively or information for like a foreigner to know buying a car here in France?
No, like we said, I think probably going for a French make is probably slightly cheaper. Not rushing into the process is also something important that you need to know where you're going to live, to know what are going to be your needs. Do you need a smaller car? Do you need a bigger one?
Yeah, that can really change what you end up buying.
And the rest of the process is not actually that daunting, I feel. There is a language barrier, of course.
Yes.
But in comparison to what you're explaining about the experience that it is in the US, I feel like it's an easier ride.
Yeah. And we looked out actually the dealership that we bought our car from. We communicated by email and just translated things. And then when we got there, it turned out one of the salesmen spoke really good English. So we felt like we totally lucked out. But if you can't find that, then you can always call Joris. And that can like be a comforting factor too. So, okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. I think this was like amazing to dive in and just make the process feel a little more, what's the word? Like shed a little light on it, how similar or different it is to the US, and that like it's not going to be as bad as you think actually. Mattresses and cars, they've both been easier to buy in France. All right, thanks for watching.
Thank you. À bientôt.